Oh, you're the man too.
Yes, my
Oh,
dad actually made it my government name.
did he?
Yeah, Manny.
Oh, that's amazing.
Welcome to the Black Announce Table. From the 718, right off the Deegan, the man with the silkiest do-rag, Manny. From Virginia by way of Europe, he gives his all every week. Cody Bray. Live and direct from Strong Island, the certified good you, Sky High East. You're listening to the Black Announce Table.
Yes, sir. The Black Announce Table podcast. We are back. And you know what happens when we join by this setting. We in a good setting right now. It's going down. Let me play a little sound drop. And with that sound drop means we have a special guest in the building. Our special guest will take on Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania 40 for the Women's World title. She has a long list of accomplishments. If I name them all, I'm sure we will run out of time. But let me just name a few. Four-time SmackDown Women's Champion, two-time Raw Women's Champion, a former NXT Women's Champion, former Royal Rumble winner. She's the author of a new book, which is out right now. The new book is titled Becky Lynch, The Man, Not Your Average Girl. We're joined by none other than the GOAT, the man, Becky Lynch.
Thank you guys. Thanks for having me. Thank you for that wonderful introduction.
Oh, no problem. No problem.
You
Um,
cut it short by about 19 and a half minutes.
definitely, man.
I was
We
gonna make a goat sound, but then I'm not really sure what kind of sound they make. It's kind of like a ba, but it's not. It's like a bleh, bleh.
There we go.
here we
Sounds
go.
good
We
to
have
me.
it.
Yeah.
That's a soundbite in itself. But
Yeah.
thank you so much for taking the time and joining us today. We really appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
All right, no problem. We usually start things off like this by asking a simple but very important question, especially since coming off an incredible last woman standing match against Nia Jax. How are you feeling?
Ow, ow, my spine is so sore. My tailbone is fine actually. I've been trying to bulk. Nobody's noticed. Nobody's made any comments, but I've been bulking lately. I keep telling people so that hopefully people will start being like, "Oh, hey man, you look like you're bulking up, But nobody said anything. Anyway, so I think that protected my tailbone on that leg drop through the announce table, but my spine, like I think when she Samoan dropped me on the chair, like one of the legs of the chair just went right into my spine. That real tender
Oh,
point. But apart from that, I'm great. I'm
Wow.
great.
Well, that's good to
Neck's
hear.
a little tricky, got a shoulder that's a little. Anyway, I'm fine for the most part.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear. That brings me to this because you go to the arena and you see last woman standing match. Are there some match stipulations that excite you more than others, or not really at this point?
I like anything where there's some weaponry. You know what I mean? Like I like to use a weapon. I like to see how far I can push it, and I like to because you can get creative with the weapons. You know what I mean? You can do things. You put a chair here and there. There's just a million things you can do. So whenever I see a stipulation, I'm usually excited for it, whether it be a last woman standing, extreme rules, whatever. Um, but man, I'm hyped for anything. I'm hyped for any sort of match. Anytime I can get in the ring and just beat the bejesus out of some poor young one, I'm happy about it.
Nice, nice. Um, I want to get to the book. You know, that's what we're here for. The book is out now. You know, wherever you get your books, Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, all of that good stuff. Because when I first heard Becky Lynch is writing a book, I was automatically interested. Number one, because I'm a big fan, but
Thank you.
you're on top of the game. You're on top of your game right now, currently, and in your prime. My question is, what made you want to write this now instead of at the end of your wrestling career, or when that's over with?
Well, so I always wanted to write a book. Like that was always my goal. And so I know that's not really the question, but like my dad was always at me for like writing, like write everything down, write everything down. And I was a big fan of Mick Foley and he wrote his book. So I wanted to be, the author of my own book. Like I didn't want to ghostwrite or anything like that. But really more than anything, the timing was because somebody came with a book deal and was like, "Here, will you write a book?"
That
And so I
usually
was like,
does it.
all right, well,
Yeah.
yeah, let's go. But then, 2020 happened, and the world shut down, and I was out pregnant, and so then I started writing, and I started the process, but I didn't have a deadline, and I've learned I am somebody who needs a deadline. I need it to come down to crunch time, and really, I think that the bones of this book, where it's at, really only happened in about 5 weeks. Like I really went through everything I'd written and scrapped it and changed it and edited it to where the final product was written in probably about 5 weeks
Wow.
after having started in 2020,
Wow,
Now
that's
I know
impressive.
when I write my book how long it's gonna take.
Deadlines, man,
Yeah.
deadlines. But I talked to Mick and he said that he had written his book in like a short period of time too. So I was like, it really is, having that deadline is massively helpful for
Mhm.
anybody doing anything, I think, really.
That's true.
So you bring up 2020. You and our co-host Chris, you both have something in common, being that both of you guys are mothers, right? And both of you gave birth during the pandemic. So we know that pregnancy, as beautiful as it is, it's also dangerous. It's scary, and with the world being shut down, I can only imagine. You know, it only adds to the fears and anxiety. So, can you explain how you felt during that time?
God, can anybody explain how they felt during 2020? Like it was such a while. Like I just go, what the hell was happening? Like we just missed years of our lives indoors. We watched a lot of Game of Thrones, played a
Oh
lot
yeah.
of video games. Like and I like have no time anymore, no free time anymore. And I go, oh, sounds nice, you know. It sounds nice now, doesn't it? But it wasn't nice. It wasn't nice. You were worried about because nobody knew what was happening, and we had loved ones who got COVID and were in hospital. I had somebody who worked for me pass away. Like there was just so much that was going on during that period, and you didn't know the effects of having COVID on a baby, and like that happened to one of my friends, and then she had the baby premature, and there was all these things going on. So I suppose you just like I just remember it in kind of almost this haze, and I can't figure out if that was like pregnancy hormones or just the time. Like the time was wacky. It was wacky because it just felt like it lasted forever. But then when you remember it, it just like blends into to just one amalgamation of sitting on the couch,
Yeah.
or getting to go coffees or wiping off your grocery, like all these things that we weren't sure that we should do or had to do or anyway. I suppose that's how I felt in
Yeah.
that long tangent that
Yeah.
really
Just
didn't
a
go
just a
anywhere.
blur.
Just a blur. How did I feel? I felt blurry. I felt like Bigfoot. I felt like the embodiment of Bigfoot.
But so some time has passed. You've become an American citizen.
A few hours ago, I became an American citizen. I have always been a proud Irish woman, but now I'm a proud American.
I have.
Congratulations.
Yes.
Thank you.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
So I was reading your book and you mentioned that one of the first times you came to America, you went to New York
Oh,
and you fell in love with America and the whole country. But listen. when I read that, I was like, ah, yes, she's kind of Dominican now that I think about it. That's what every Dominican goes through. They go to New York and they're like, oh yeah, this is it.
This is
Um,
America.
exactly. So with that being said, what have you like fallen in love with because you've traveled so much with the WWE? Like, what else besides New York made you fall in love with, traveling and everything like that in America?
God, well, like I mean, I just remember when I'd get on the road, and it's like it would just be little like just driving through all these different towns, and everything had its own unique feel to it. You know, you'd be out in Arizona, and that had that desert feel to it, and then you'd be going through like Texas, and they would have the old style saloons, and then you'd be driving through somewhere so beautiful like Connecticut and just everything, or like the Carolinas, everything had its own unique feel to it. And I mean, it sounds so basic and probably a little bit weird, but I just used to love getting out and going into gas stations and like looking around in the gas stations, like, oh, when can we pull over? Anybody need to pee? Like, oh, what kind of drinks can I get? Oh, look at this Monster Energy can, and so maybe that was like an Irish girl in America, and like really getting out of the big cities and driving through the middle of nowhere, and the vast landscape of it all was interesting, fascinating to me. But since then, is there any specific places that I loved LA, and so wanted to move there, and I love California in general, that whole like West Coast. I think I just love anything by the sea. I think maybe that's
Mm.
part of like growing up on a little island, is that you feel the longing to be close to the sea and to the ocean.
So
Something
the
about being
Bronx,
beside a body of water.
you can move to the Bronx. They have Orchard Beach right there, this
Uh,
Atlantic Ocean, beautiful beach. There's villas. I think they're opening up a Hilton in a couple years, so check out
okay,
that.
okay, and a great zoo, I hear.
Oh, there was a polar bear in the Bronx Zoo one time, so
Is it
yeah,
no polar bear anymore?
it's not there anymore,
Ah,
RIP. But yeah,
ah,
I once
God.
lived in the same zip code as a polar bear. Not too many people can say that.
Wow, no, not a bunch, not a whole lot. The poor polar bear.
Yeah.
Becky, I have a question about your journey, right? So, on the long road to becoming the man, you've had to work several jobs, probably some that you didn't like, probably, you mentioned you were a waitress before, flight attendant, but in the end, you've managed to become one of the greatest women's wrestlers of all time. So, can you just speak on staying focused and not losing that drive when it comes to circumstance, maybe when it wasn't in your favor?
Oh, I completely lost drive and focus. I think that's it. I think that's it. I think it's more um it's so in that time, like when I wrestled from when I was 15 to 19. And then when I was 19, like I just look back and I thought I was too old. I thought I was too old. I thought I needed to get a real job and like a house and like, settle down. And so I did all these other things, and I became a flight attendant, and I was a waitress, but I was always looking for something that lit the fire in my belly like wrestling did. And nothing did, and I would scratch and I would claw and I would try different things. Like I was like, okay, the thing that I liked about wrestling was the combat, so I do like Muay Thai, and I went to like Thailand, and I would be practicing over there. And then I was like, no, the thing that I liked about wrestling was the traveling. So I would, I was a flight attendant, and I would do all the different travel. And then I was like, the thing about wrestling that I liked was the communication and the community. So I did like a teaching English as a foreign language course, because I was like, oh well, that'll open me up to a whole new community that I wasn't, not privy to. And so I would just constantly do all of these random things, and like it's like, oh, the thing that I liked was the working out, so I became a personal trainer and a bodybuilder. And then it was like the thing that I love about wrestling was the performance. Then I went back to college and I studied acting, and that was the closest that I'd gotten to like feeling like, okay, here we are. But uh but the whole time I would always I had so much guilt and so much regret of leaving this thing that I felt like I had this gift for. And maybe it wasn't a gift, but I had this drive for it, because I was never naturally good at wrestling. I just loved it, and I wanted to be better at it, and I wanted to work for it. I wanted to understand how I could be good at it. And and so I was constantly chasing that feeling. And then when it was just a chance encounter, I was working as a stunt woman, and I went down to a wrestling school to help me with the stunts. And the guy that was teaching the class said, I think you should go for a WWE tryout because I think you'd get it. And like all of a sudden, it was like the floodgates open. It was like after spending so long trying to fit a triangle into a square like hole or whatever, I was I I I, I finally had like was pulled. It was like, this is easy. This is what I want to do. And of course, it wasn't easy. But I had that feeling like, okay, I just need to work as hard as possible. So I think, but the thing is that if I hadn't left, if I hadn't gone through all of those things and tried all of those things, I wouldn't have arrived in WWE at the time that I arrived with the people that I arrived with. Like I very much could have come. I could have been signed earlier. I could have been signed when I was younger, and then I could have been chewed up and spit out, and then have never gotten to do the things that I did. So I think in all of that, it's sometimes life throws you curveballs. Sometimes you give yourself your own curveballs, and and you lose focus and you lose yourself. But if you can kind of forgive yourself and give yourself a little bit of grace, you can dig yourself out of those holes and find the way that you're supposed to go. And I think it's kind of trusting that life has its own timing. It's not always going to follow your timing. And I feel like it's a lesson I'm constantly learning, you know, like I'm quite impatient. I want things to happen yesterday.
I'm the same way.
Yeah. But sometimes like things don't happen at the time that you want them, but they might happen down the road in a way that's 20 times better than you could have ever imagined. And I feel like that's definitely what happened to me.
That's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy because, like you said, things don't happen in the time that you want it to happen, but everything that you go through along in that time, it kind of molds you and shapes you and prepares you for what you wanted the entire time, which is the beautiful thing about life.
Yeah, yeah, and it's the exciting part of life, you know? Like I think once you can embrace that and you, like if I had one thing that I wish I spent so much time worrying about like this stuff that wasn't happening as opposed to like enjoying what was happening. I was like, oh well, when is this gonna happen? And am I gonna be all right? And am I gonna, am I gonna figure it all out when, I could have enjoyed my early 20s. I did not. What a waste.
All right, now I know you're one of us. I'm gonna lock in for these last 3 years I got and really live in the moment.
Yeah, I mean it's a practice, and it's hard, but I think tried meditating. Do you ever meditate?
Not really.
Oh,
Like
I don't meditate. I pray. I mean, that's as close to meditation as I got.
yeah. I think it's pretty much the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Sitting like there. I try to. Not very good at it. Just be thinking about what I'm gonna have for dinner or something.
yeah, I do it every time my parlay is one leg away.
Yeah.
Somebody talk to me nice.
And everything I do, I don't do. I do the other thing. Everything y'all go across the street that way, I'm going up.
TTMN.
Well, look, we have a segment. We have a segment on the show. It's called TTMN, stands for Talk to Me Nice. And basically, it's just rapid fire questions. First thing that comes to your mind, just hit us with it, and then we can move on. First question I have: what is your top vacation destination spot?
Well, this has to be fast. Like, is this a place? Sorry, but now
You can give us some
clarity.
thoughts. Okay.
Is this a place? Is this a place that I've gone to before, or is this a place that I want to go to, or
Give
is
us
this?
both.
Give us both. Oh, I would love to go. I would love to go to Fiji, or the Galapagos Islands, and then somewhere that I love to go to. Well, I like to go back home.
Ireland.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a place in Ireland called Kerry, and I don't know if you've ever been to Ireland, but if you do ever go to Ireland, or if you've been, you've got to go down to Kerry, and there's a beautiful spot called Dingle. And when we were growing up, we had like a caravan on the beach in Dingle, or in a place called Ventry, and it's just beautiful. It's so picturesque, and
All right,
Wow.
guys, we're
The
going to
people are
Kerry.
lovely. Yeah, you gotta go to
Yeah.
Kerry.
There's
And
no,
the
there's no
like the
trip.
locals. The locals are great. And the like little pubs and the Irish music sessions and the Guinness is amazing.
Oof.
I
I'm
actually
using it
have a
right now.
frosty. Yeah, I have a frosty Guinness in my refrigerator right now, waiting to crack right after this interview. So
Oh,
yeah.
hell yeah. Why wait till after? Come on, bust it out. Afternoon.
I've seen your GQ interview where you said that you're addicted to chocolate. You've traveled all across the globe. Where do you think, or which country or city has the best chocolate?
I mean, look, I'm going to be partial to the chocolate in Ireland, but then Belgium, that's what they're
Mhm.
famous for, really. Like, why? Like, America. And I can say this now without any hate in my heart because I'm an American
You are
citizen now.
now.
Terrible chocolate. What are we doing? Come on.
Whoa,
Come
whoa,
on.
Hershey, Pennsylvania.
Ugh.
Yeah, I was just about to say, have
Ugh.
you tried a Hershey's bar?
A
Yes.
cookies and cream
Ugh.
Hershey's bar is what it's all
Ugh.
about.
Ugh. You
Have
need
you had
more
it on a
milk, more
s'more?
cream. Have I what?
Have you had it on like a s'more with a marshmallow and graham cracker?
No.
Oh, what are you doing? All right, you're not a citizen until you have a s'more on a summer day.
Damn it. I thought I
That's
was
the
a
final
citizen when I
test.
waved my little flag. All right,
No, no,
okay.
no. It's
I
when
like
you
I
when
like
you do a
I,
s'more.
I like that test a lot better. That's a
Yeah.
much friendlier test than the one I had.
Uh, Shout out to my dad for being at the right place, right time. I didn't have to take a test. We made it. If you could have one musical performer to bring you out to the ring, who would it be?
Eddie Vedder.
Mm.
Oof. All right, here we go.
Eddie
I
Vedder,
mean,
Pearl Jam, baby. Pearl
No
Jam.
hesitation.
No
yeah.
hesitation. My favorite band of all
Would
time.
you do you have a song in mind?
State of Love and Trust.
Oh, all right, all right. How's you know?
Gotta tap in. You gotta tap in. You
Yeah.
gotta do your homework on
Do we,
Love and Trust Me.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, great song, great song.
no, no.
It's a bopper. I have to think of like their boppy songs,
I have another
or
question.
maybe Lightning Bolt.
Lightning Bolt by Pearl Jam.
Yeah, yeah.
What about my personal favorite, Even Flow?
Oh, great song,
Fire.
Even flows a banger.
great song.
Alive, another banger.
Oh, they don't miss. They
Not at
don't
all.
miss. They don't miss.
Oh man, I wish we had more time. We definitely gonna have to bring you back so we could discuss some more Pearl Jam, some more
Well, I
chop.
was I was gonna say maybe Crazy Mary because that's like my government middle name.
Oh,
Mm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
maybe he
But
remixes it, changes the name.
well, no, but it's my middle name.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, yeah. It's not Becky Mary Lynch. It's Rebecca Mary Quinn. But yeah, yeah.
Has a better ring to it.
Becky Mary Lynch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has something to it. Yeah.
I just want to say, well, if you have something else before we
No,
close
no, no.
out,
Go ahead, man. Do your thing.
I just want to say, Becky, we wish you the best of luck at WrestleMania 40
Yeah.
against Rhea Ripley.
Thank you.
We really wish you the best. Hopefully, you could come out, get the W. And number two, go purchase the book, guys. It's out right now. Becky Lynch, the man, not your average girl, is out right now. Amazon, Barnes and Nobles. Y'all go get it. Becky, thank you so much for joining the show.
Thanks for having me. You guys rock.
Thank you. You
Yes.
do too.
Absolute
Thanks,
goat.
man. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Take care.
Enjoy your Guinness,
Oh, I'm getting it right now.
my man.
Gotta go get some whiskey.
I like your guys' style.